I didn't know I'd be speaking this early. Thank you, Tracy, for inviting me to speak here. I'm honored to join such a distinguished lineup. For those of you who don't know me, as Tracy said, in 2007, I was fired from my job at the Capitol, right behind me, when I told my boss I'd be transitioning from male to female. Lambda Legal and I brought a federal lawsuit against my employers, and last July I won. Of course, most of us in the transgender community have suffered job discrimination due to being transgender. We've been fired, demoted, harassed, or made to use the wrong restroom. Many of us have suffered in other legal, institutional, and physical ways. We've been evicted from our homes, ostracized by friends and families, thrown out of our church homes. We're here tonight to remember those who have suffered the worst form of discrimination. They've lost their lives simply for being themselves. This is not a fun event. When we read the list of names later on, some of us will feel traumatized just by listening to all the novel and dehumanizing ways monsters have found to murder us in the past year. I've looked at the list. One victim was just 16 months old. 16 months old. I understand discomfort with us, I understand bigotry, but the kind of passionate, unreasoning fear that would lead a person to kill his own little boy just because he's acting like a girl completely exceeds my comprehension. It's the worst out of hundreds of awful stories that you're going to hear tonight. But I didn't come here tonight in despair. I came with optimism. I believe the world is changing for the better. It's happening slowly and with steps back as well as steps forward. But it's a march that continues, and it's not going to end. We are winning the fight for equality. Consider employment. We're still getting fired from our jobs, but now we can fight back in the courts, and we're starting to win. I won this year, but before me was Diane Schroer and a few others, and there are going to be many more after me. Advocates like the ACLU and Lambda Legal are finding winning strategies in cases like these. The End It Now website notes that it's legal to fire employees for their gender identity in 38 states. I prefer to read that the other way. It's illegal to fire employees for their gender identity in 12 states. 19 more states have bills in their legislature that would add similar protections when they pass into law. Just a few years ago, there weren't any states that had such protections. That's a trend that's going to keep moving in our direction, even if the Federal Employment Non-Discrimination Act never passes. President Obama has made it against federal policy to discriminate in hiring based on gender identity. He also made Amanda Simpson the first transgender appointee to a federal position. We are gaining ground outside the workplace too. Again, thanks to President Obama, passport regulations now allow us to have travel documents that reflect our authentic selves, whether or not we've undergone any particular surgery. If we have had transgender-related surgeries, the IRS must now allow us to deduct their costs. More and more of us are able to retain custody of our children, or at least to have visitation rights. Most importantly, in bigger numbers than ever, we are out. We are in the world, living our lives, being who we are, and making no compromises for the small-minded. All of this matters. When you perceive transgenders as people with no family, no job, no home, and no friends, it's easy to forget that they're people at all. That's the kind of thinking that gives license to violence. But when you live in a world where every transgender person is known to be someone's parent, child, spouse, co-worker, fellow churchgoer, or a government official, it's really hard to remain that ignorant. This is our time. We are making this new world a reality just by living our lives. That's why I'm optimistic. I predict this list is going to be shorter every year from now forward. And one day I'll arrive here on November 20th, and I'll find that the list is blank. I hope you're all here with me that day. Thank you.